YouTube viewers. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This is a show by the people, for the people, and you, my friends, are my people. So jump right in, participate in our growing community, because that is the way we like it. In today's program, the Mavericks were concerned, apparently, about Luka Doncic's penchant for beer and hookahs. We're going to look into that today, and we're also going to take you to the NFL Combine, where OutKick's own Armando Salguero is standing by. We're going to talk about the quarterback shuffle that's going on in the NFL right now and a lot more, so stick around for those things. But let's start with some sad news. Breaking this morning, the legendary actor Gene Hackman has passed away at the age of 95 under as yet unclear circumstances. Hackman, his wife, and their dog found dead. That story just breaking this morning, a disappointing thing to wake up to, obviously, for all of us who loved Gene Hackman and have enjoyed his acting career. And what a career it's been. I've had Gene Hackman on my mind all morning here, normally trying to get ready for the program, but there's some people that when they pass on, you just stop for a second and maybe you didn't even realize quite how much they meant to you until you hear that they're gone. And I've always been a Gene Hackman fan, and I think, most people of my age can probably name multiple Gene Hackman films that they're fans of. Obviously, he had one of the longest, most distinguished careers in Hollywood. And so I've had Gene Hackman on my mind this morning a little bit, kind of eating into my show preparation. But let's talk about Gene Hackman a little bit. I remember years ago, one of the first Gene Hackman performances that really made an impression on me was The Poseidon Adventure. And if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. If you're talking about heroic fucking efforts, I'm coming with Gene Hackman in The Poseidon Adventure all day long. That man did everything he could to try to save those people. And I just remember watching that as a young man, probably in my early 20s, and thinking like, man, damn, this dude is a hell of an actor. And I wasn't wrong. Obviously, for many of us, particularly sports fans, the role that we are going to consider to be maybe the most synonymous with Gene Hackman, and again, a guy who's had a career like Hackman, you can pick a lot of different roles and make that argument. But for me, it's Norman Dale and Hickory, taking those kids in 1950s Indiana and going and slaying Goliath in one of the great feel-good, upset sports movies, right up there with Miracle and Rocky and whatever your favorites might be. But what an iconic role as the basketball coach who arrives in this little town and gets these kids to believe in themselves and takes them all the way to a state championship. Of course, that was based on a true story. But Hackman made that movie, and Hackman has said before that he didn't even think that movie was going to be anything special. He didn't have great aspirations for Hoosiers. And sometimes it's hard to imagine. We see a movie like that and we think, well, everybody that was working on that movie must have known that it was something special the entire time that they were working on it. And Hackman said before that he was as surprised as anybody that movie became as loved as it was. And obviously he was probably the main reason that movie became what it is, because of that performance that he gave. He could be a great good guy. For me, I always say, the test of any actor for me is, can you make me love you? Can you make me laugh? And can you make me hate you? Any actor who can do all three of those things, for me, you got to start considering that maybe they're one of the great ones. And Hackman could do that. What a good guy as Norman Dale. But we're talking about the same man that played Lex Luthor in Superman. And that was a fun role. A comedy, a comedic villain, the kind of thing that you see in a superhero movie, the exaggerated persona of Lex Luthor. And Hackman crushed it, absolutely crushed it. He was a great bad guy. but he was a different kind of bad guy. Tim this morning sent me a note and said it was the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good roles like Norman Dale, where he's the virtuous everyman and he's very easy to root for. The bad, when he plays a guy like Lex Luthor, right? And the ugly, one of the all-time great, most despicable, hateful villains that I've ever seen in any movie in my entire life is Gene Hackman as Little Bill in Unforgiven. Oh my God. What a hateable man he is in that film. And that to me is acting. When you go into a movie thinking, oh, Gene Hackman's in this. I like Gene Hackman. This will be good. And then you look up and you're a couple of hours into the movie and you hate the character that Gene Hackman has been playing, even though you love Gene Hackman. That to me is holding an audience in the palm of your hand. And what a despicable maggot of a man Little Bill was. And it's hard to imagine anybody else playing that role and playing it with such success. So Gene Hackman, you want to talk about range. He had more range than just about any actor that you can imagine. It's a very, very short list. And we've all got Gene Hackman memories and Gene Hackman movies. I would say there's going to be a lot of Gene Hackman stuff getting streamed today as people reflect back on their favorite Gene Hackman movies and want to go back for a little bit of comfort and see one on this sad day where we've lost an icon. Let me bring in now a man who is working on becoming an icon himself. I speak, of course, of the international streaming star who joins me still somehow from Chicago this morning, I believe. Ronnie, this is a sad one, man, to wake up and find out, even at the ripe old age of 95, to find that we've lost Gene Hackman, and he's been lost under these sort of mysterious circumstances, at least for the moment. We don't know exactly what happened. A lot of people, I heard you before the show here talking with Jared saying that you were speculating, as many of us are, that it might have been carbon monoxide.
Yeah.
But we really don't have any idea. What were your thoughts when you got this news?
Well, I'm not, my blind spot, and it, and you've laughed about it before. My blind spot is movies, right? Like, there's a lot of movies I haven't seen, and even when I do watch movies, I don't retain them, and I don't try to commit them to memory. But I recognize that Gene Hackman is an icon and a legend, and he has been in more movies than I think any of us can even try to rattle off right now. The ones that come to mind for me are Crimson Tide, The Firm, and actually a movie I really liked was Mississippi Burning. But, he's definitely, he's on a short list of the greatest male actors of all time. I'm sure you'd agree.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, the guy was really he was a slice of Americana. I mean, he could play so many different roles, and I agree with you. Mississippi Burning is a good call right there. That's one that has always stuck with me, where he plays the, what was he, FBI
agent,
went down to Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
FBI
and
agent.
Outstanding movie about the civil rights era and events that were going on down there. I mean, we could sit here and go through his IMDb page, probably, Ron, and you're going to be thinking, oh yeah, he was in that too. He was in
a movie
I forgot he was in this.
There's an iconic movie, and I've never seen it, and it's a lot of it. I was too young to have seen it when it was out, and then I just never saw it. But The French Connection, he was in The French Connection, which is an iconic movie.
I've never seen it, Ron. I've never seen The French Connection.
Maybe we should watch it as a program.
Do you think?
Maybe.
You want to air it tomorrow and just kick our feet up?
No. I mean, we watch it. Everybody watches it, and then we talk about it at some point. I wasn't saying we get popcorn. I come over to your house and we watch it together.
All right. Well, look, bring some beer and a hookah pipe for me, and and we can watch it. Maybe we could invite Luka over. Ron, the word is they're saying that the Mavs had an issue with the fact that Luka had a penchant for the beer and the hookah, and Bleacher Report saying that they felt his health history would likely lead to catastrophe in the next 5 years. That maybe Luka's not taking care of himself. We talk about how LeBron takes care of his body. We talk about how Tom Brady in the NFL took care of his body. These guys who are stretching the limits of maybe in the past what we thought was possible for athletic performance past the age of 40. Luka just wants some beer and some smoke, motherfucker. And the Mavericks are not feeling it. What do you think?
I mean, we don't know, but catastrophe, that seems a little aggressive, doesn't it? Catastrophe? Like his liver's going to explode? Like, what do they think's going to happen?
Yeah, look, here's the thing. All right, they think that in 5 years it'll lead to catastrophe. So they just moved the clock forward 5 years by trading for Anthony Davis, who's already 31.
Right.
So you tell me what sense that makes. We're worried that in 5 years things aren't going to go so well. So let's get the 31-year-old guy who breaks down all the time and who is currently broken down right now. We'll just fast forward past the 5 years that we think he has left. I'm telling you, man, the dude's averaging 28, 8, and 8 for his career. This, to me, there's no putting a happy face on this trade. I'm sorry. This is a trade that should have been made. It was a terrible move. Sometimes the simplest reaction is also the most accurate one. And there's a reason that we were all like, oh my God, is this real? Did this really happen? Is this real? Because we all looked at it and we were like, why would they do that? They wouldn't possibly do that, would they? And I think it's a case, Ron, of familiarity breeds contempt. Okay? I saw a little thing popped up in my Facebook timeline yesterday, and it was TikTok or something. I think it was a reel. And it said basically, like, imagine leaving somebody in a romantic relationship who was 90% of what you wanted because you were hyper-focused on the 10% that wasn't exactly what you wanted. And I think that happens in relationships. I think it happens in relationships between franchises and teams. And they have zoned in on the parts of Luka that they didn't like. And they're ignoring the fact that this guy's a perennial first-team all-star and a guy who averages 28, 8, and 8. And he's coming into his prime years, and I don't want to hear about the excuses. Don't tell me that you're worried that in 5 years this guy is going to be a disaster, and then you go out and you decide that the way to get around that is to get a guy that's 5 years older and has just as many durability issues, if not more, than Luka. I'm not buying it, Ron. And what's wrong with wanting to smoke, by the way?
What's hookah? I don't even know what hookah is.
It's some Middle Eastern smoking pipe flavored.
Well, but is it like tobacco? Smokes? Is it what is it they're burning? I don't even know what they're burning.
Yeah, it's tobacco. It's flavored. Like a whole bunch of people, like 10 people can smoke from the same hookah at the same time. Donald Duck might have liked to have a hookah, Ron. Motherfucker's got a speech impediment. He's raising 3 kids that aren't even his own. Damn right. You sparked that pipe, Donald. You've earned it. Motherfucker can't talk. Raising his brother's kids or his sister's kids. Do we even know which one of Donald Duck's siblings? All I know is that they're his nephews. He's dealing with them all the time. He can't handle the stress. Well, that was Donald Duck, wasn't it? Hang on. I'm being told that was actually Hunter Biden and his crack pipe. Ron. I'm sorry. He's waiting for Huey, Dewey, and Louie to come by, and let me tell you, it's a different Huey, Dewey, and Louie that were coming to visit Hunter. Don't ask me what I know about them. I don't know. It was probably illegal, is all that I know, Ron. While we're looking at things, some of the best things I ever saw, I looked at through one of these, Ronnie. Does this bring back the memories for you like it does for me? Some of the most majestic shit I ever saw.
1,000,000%.
It's unbelievable. When we were kids, getting one of those things,
it opened up the world to us.
Yeah. I mean, that was our 4K television and
Yep.
every other type of entertainment rolled into one. I think they had 21 pictures on them. And you'd cycle through, and then you'd cycle through again. And then you'd cycle through again. We thought we were living the good life, Ron. We really did. Ron, here's one for you. I'm going to talk about this, and then I'll get your take on it. Jake Tapper. You know, I used to. This is another one of the things in my transformation, in terms of how I view the world and how I view the culture and how I view our politics. I used to think that Jake Tapper was a solid newsman. And I know some of you are laughing at me right now and thinking, yeah, well, welcome to the party, hippie. That was never true. But I always thought Jake Tapper was a pretty professional guy, at least back in my days before everything fully dawned on me about news in this country and everything else. I want to go back to a tape. First of all, you should know that Jake Tapper has a book coming out. Let's go ahead and throw this up and let people see Jake Tapper's book. Jake Tapper has a book here that he's co-authored called Original Sin, President Biden's Decline, Its Cover-Up, and His Disastrous Choice to Run Again. All right, so who better than Jake Tapper, the respected news anchor, at least respected by some, to write a book about President Biden's decline, the cover-up, and his decision to run again? You know, that's one that I would really want to read if it wasn't for the fact that Jake Tapper was completely complicit in the cover-up. Are you kidding me? You're going to write a book, Jake, about the thing that you went on television and denied and denied and denied and denied. And we've got some footage here. Laura Trump on with Jake Tapper. This is back during the election, and Laura Trump saying that Joe Biden is showing signs of cognitive decline. Now, I think every single one of us here that has a functioning synapse in our heads right now would say, yes, clearly Joe Biden was declining. And we watched it happen throughout his term. But he was in decline when he got there. He didn't just start decline. It got worse. All right? Joe Scarborough on TV, right? Hey, let me tell you something, motherfucker. This is the best Joe Biden that there's ever been. The best. You remember 40-year-old Joe Biden? He's got nothing mentally on 80-year-old Joe Biden. This is the best version of Joe Biden ever. Joe Scarborough, more full of shit than a Christmas turkey. Well, here's Jake Tapper, more full of shit than a Christmas turkey. Let's roll the tape. You'll see for yourselves, and we'll discuss it.
How do you think it makes little kids with stutters feel when they see you make a comment like that?
First and foremost, I had no idea that Joe Biden ever suffered from a stutter. I think what we see on stage with Joe Biden, Jake, is very clearly a cognitive decline.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable
You have
to
no
watch somebody on stage
That's so amazing. It's so amazing to me
and try and figure out an answer.
A cognitive decline.
Well, when you're trying to tell me that what I was suggesting was
I think that you were mocking his stutter. Yeah, I think you were mocking his stutter, and I think you have absolutely no standing to diagnose somebody's cognitive decline. I would think that somebody in the Trump family would be more sensitive to people who do not have medical licenses diagnosing politicians from afar. Plenty of people have diagnosed your father from afar, and I'm sure it offends you. Your father-in-law from afar. I'm sure it offends you. You don't have any standing to say.
I'm not diagnosing him. What I'm saying, Jake,
you just talked
is
about
that
a cognitive decline.
That Joe Biden
I have one last
struggling
question for you, Laura. You can't
times on stage, and it's very concerning to a lot of people that this could be the leader of the free world.
Okay.
That is all I'm saying. I genuinely feel
Laura
sorry
Trump.
for Joe Biden.
I appreciate it. I'm sure.
All right. I don't even know where to begin. He acted like he was so. I think you were making fun of his stuttering. I think you were. What are kids going to think when they see you making fun of his stuttering? She sits there and says, no, I didn't even know that he had a stutter. I'm talking about his obvious decline. And I don't know the context, but I mean, you can imagine what it was. Wandering around, shouting out people that have been dead for 30 years, acting like he doesn't know where to go. I mean, how many examples do you need? Was it really a radical thing for Laura Trump to say that she thinks that Joe Biden may be showing signs of cognitive decline? It's not. Tapper just pushing back against that. Like you were talking about his own father or something. You have no standing to assess somebody else's cognitive decline. I find it amazing that you would do that. As I've said before on this program, Bob Dylan, maybe my favorite Bob Dylan lyric, you don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows. If it walks like it's in cognitive decline, if it talks like it's in cognitive decline, if it wanders around like it's in cognitive decline, you don't have to be a fucking doctor in order to be able to observe what you're seeing right in front of you. And Jake Tapper sitting there trying to gaslight everybody into saying that it's ridiculous that she could even suggest that he might be having cognitive decline. Go fuck yourself, Jake. The only thing worse than that is you're going to profit off of it now. Because the minute that it's out there, hey, how can I make money? We're going to talk about how this was covered up, like you're exposing some kind of scandal. Page 1 ought to be a fucking picture of you, Jake. Because I found who was doing it. I know the source of the cover-up. It was the fucking fake news, such as yourself. Ronnie, you got anything you want to add to that?
I mean, how do I follow that, Ricky? I've used this term a lot on this show. These people are so smug. Like, he's so smug. I cannot stand it. Like, it might be the quality or the characteristic about people that I dislike the most. He's so smug. He thinks he's so much better and so much smarter. I mean, is that for real that this guy wrote this book and there's all these receipts? All these receipts.
Imagine just the fucking chutzpah that it would take to go out with a straight face and publish this book.
Yes.
After everything that you've done to deny it. Like, you weren't a fucking part of it. I mean, right. It's unbelievable to me. Like, you weren't a fucking part of it. Jake, another guy who follows Super 70 Sports and doesn't deserve the content. Do the right thing and unfollow me, Jake. Don't make me block you. Unbelievable. You're going to sit there and do that. All right, look. One of the things that we've been seeing, Ron, is we're seeing people, I was one of them, people who historically did not vibe with Donald Trump, who are starting to look at things differently now. And I've got another one for you. Floyd Money Mayweather. Let's go to the tape. Floyd Mayweather now saying in the past he wasn't with Trump. Now he is. Let's listen to Floyd.
At least I'm happy, but we're never happy. When we had Trump before, we didn't appreciate him. But I think Trump is a great president. Actually, he's the best president in my eyes. He's the best president we ever had. Great businessman, and that's what it's about.
Yeah, and the way the day's cabinet thing, you probably went around here. It was really phenomenal. To the point you talked about. Team, putting together a great team,
yes,
put together a fantastic cabinet.
Trump has done an amazing job, and a lot of people around America are upset. But no matter who goes in the White House, we're always upset.
Right.
And I think Trump is the man for the job. He's the best president in my eyes.
I also been reading.
Would you have had that on your bingo card a couple of years ago?
No, so Mayweather's for
Floyd Mayweather.
He's for new Hitler? Is that what people are saying? Mayweather
apparently,
supports new Hitler?
Are we now immediately, are we all going to criticize Floyd Mayweather for coming out as a Nazi?
I mean, if they're going to be consistent, they should.
Isn't it fun how these things are so select? Yeah, right. They only turn up the Hitler rhetoric under certain circumstances when they feel like it's beneficial. Yep. Because if you really believed it, wouldn't you say that Floyd Mayweather has identified himself as a member of a hate group?
Absolutely.
But they're not going to come out and do that. They're not going to come out and do that. They're going to selectively pick their spots to drive the Hitler narrative, but nobody's buying it anyway, man. Or the people that are buying it are people like Chris Cluey, who are so fucking gone that it doesn't matter anyway. That guy's never going to vote anything.
No, he has a degree in government.
Far left.
He has a degree in government.
He's got a degree in government. Well, I'm sorry, Chris Cluey. I apologize. I forgot that you have a bachelor's degree in government. Who am I to question you? Ronnie, President Trump has declared a legendary athlete to be a free agent. Have you seen this? Are you aware of the story that we're about to cover here? Take a look at this. Donald Trump on Truth Social, and I suppose that this is everything he does. He goes to Truth, and then they repost it on X. Wayne Gretzky's a fantastic guy. This is a classic Donald Trump tweet. It goes everywhere. Wayne Gretzky's a fantastic guy. They call him the Great One, and he is. He could run for any political office in Canada and win. Wayne is my friend, and he wants to make me happy and is therefore somewhat low-key about Canada remaining a separate country rather than becoming a cherished and beautiful 51st state. Blah, 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 blah. Wayne Gretzky's wonderful, whatever. He's the greatest Canadian of them all, and I am therefore making him a free agent because I don't want anyone in Canada to say anything bad about him. He supports Canada the way it is, as he should, even though it's not nearly as good as it could be as a part of the greatest and most powerful country in the world, the good old US of A. So whatever the fuck that means, Ron. Wayne Gretzky is now, I guess, a free agent, and he can pursue his endeavors with any country that he wants to.
Gulf of Mexico is no longer.
I'm trying to figure out what all of that means.
Yeah, I mean, the Gulf of Mexico is not the Gulf of America.
Was that a little backhanded?
Yeah,
was that a little bit
Gretzky's
of a backhanded thing at Gretzky there? Yeah. It's like, Wayne, maybe you failed your American test. Wayne, I don't know. He was being so nice, but was there an undercurrent of fuck you, Wayne, if you're not all in on the America train here?
Yeah, I don't know, but my favorite line in there was, "He's my friend and he wants to make me happy."
It is always my pleasure to welcome my next guest to the program. He is OutKick's senior NFL writer. Always an honor to welcome to the show the great Armando Salguero. He joins us from the Combine in Indianapolis. Armando, how's it going, my friend?
Well, Ricky, I just got done with the lawyers changing my birth certificate official name to the great Armando Salguero because you said so. Yes, you said so, and they're working on it diligently, I must report to you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Marvelous Marvin Hagler, he had Marvelous put on his legal documents as well. So you're in good company there. I want you to tell me about this Michael Rappaport, Jordan Schultz dust-up situation. We've got two of the NFL's finest information people having a confrontation. Ian Rappaport, I'm sorry, what did I call him? The rap sheet, Ian Rappaport. What did I call him, Michael? Sorry, Michael, if that's what I said. I'm thinking of you, Ian. What's going on with that, Armando, with what we've had reported here, some disagreement? I guess Rappaport correcting Jordan Schultz' suggestion that Tom Brady and Matthew Stafford may have gone skiing together and had some inappropriate interactions. What do you got for me here?
Yeah, as with most media dust-ups, it's a lot to do about nothing, and I'll get to that in a second. But originally, Jordan Schultz of Fox Sports reported that Matthew Stafford, who is looking to be traded and possibly, signed to a big new contract with some other team, was in Montana. And he was in Montana with Tom Brady at Tom Brady's house. And they went skiing. And Schultz reported that it was a recruiting visit by Tom Brady, who wants him on the Las Vegas Raiders, the team for which Tom Brady is a minority owner. Minutes after he put out that report, Ian Rappaport says, well, it was just a chance meeting in Montana, of all places, because that's where people go for chance meetings. And there was no recruiting involved. And this is much ado about nothing, contrary to internet rumors and reports. And so obviously Jordan Schultz didn't take kindly to the swipe at his work. And he came back and he said, if you believe that Tom Brady and Matthew Stafford were at the same place at the same time in Montana, out of happenstance, then I've got a bridge to sell you. Well, fast forward a couple of hours, and down the block here at the JW Marriott, they've got a Starbucks counter, and Ian is at the Starbucks counter with talking to an agent, and here comes Jordan Schultz, and he, comes up to Ian Rappaport, who stands about 3'7", and he gets up in his face and he says, "We need to talk." To which Rappaport says, "We don't have anything to talk about." And so here they are face to face in front of the Starbucks counter. By the way, have I told you, Jordan Schultz's dad was the CEO for years and years of Starbucks. He's worth $2.5 billion. So my guess is now Ian Rappaport is banned from all Starbucks in the future. Meanwhile, Ian Rappaport calls NFL security because he felt accosted. And Jordan Schultz is under investigation by NFL security. And here's the kicker. I reached out to the NFL this morning because the question is that meeting between Stafford and Brady, does it reach the level of tampering to where an official from one team is talking to a player on another team? The answer is no, the NFL tells me. The answer is the Rams gave Stafford permission to do this, which not a lot of people knew because everybody was under the impression that it was Stafford's agent who had permission to go talk to other teams. In fact, it's Stafford himself. So all this is much ado about nothing because even if Tom Brady was recruiting, and up in Matt Stafford's craw trying to convince him to come to the Raiders yesterday, it doesn't matter. It's not tampering.
All right, Armando, that is a good place as any for us to talk about the quarterback shuffle. And as these things go, sometimes you got to wait for that first domino to fall in order for the rest of the picture to be clear. There's a lot of variables here. Where are Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders going to end up? What's going to happen with Matthew Stafford? Aaron Rodgers, I'm hearing, is reached out to the Giants. Armando, take me through this scene here of the quarterbacks. Sam Darnold has still got to figure out what's going to happen with him, among others. What are we kind of looking at here with the quarterbacks that are in play?
Stafford is the first domino. He is the guy. He's the best guy out there. He's obviously, even at 37 years old, he is the prize of the litter. And when he figures out what he's doing, which may include staying with the Rams, then all the other dominoes will fall. If the Rams need a quarterback, they might turn to, Aaron Rodgers. They might turn to Sam Darnold. They might draft the Quinn Ewers. They might do something like that. The Jets need a quarterback. The Giants obviously need a quarterback. They're trying to get Stafford as well. The Falcons tell everybody who will listen that they are not trading Kirk Cousins, that he will be their backup. I call BS on that because we all know that nobody wants a $27 million a year quarterback. He's a shadow that would be a bad situation if Michael Penix Jr. ever struggles. Fans will immediately and instantly start calling for the benching of Penix and the playing of Stafford, which is the reverse of what happened last year. So I think that he will be released. He will be available. And then, of course, there's the draft picks that happen in April. All these other guys, the dominoes will fall by March, the middle of March. The first day of the new league year is March 12th, and we'll have certainty about where those guys are going by then.
Ward and Sanders, is there a sense, is Ward going to go before Sanders? And how far do you think Sanders could possibly go? I've heard people saying there's no way he falls below 6th. What's your take on this?
Yeah, so obviously I'm a Miami guy. I watched Cam Ward play every single game last year. Very impressive. Is he a complete product? No. Last year was a great quarterback class. This year is not a great quarterback class, and he is the class of that group. That group includes Jackson Dart from Mississippi. I already mentioned Quinn Ewers, and obviously Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders isn't quite as gifted, I would say, athletically as Cam Ward. Cam Ward isn't quite as pro-ready as Shedeur Sanders. So it's going to be kind of like a balancing act. But at the end of the day, I think teams that have egos believe we're going to go with the higher upside and coach the pro-ready into him, whereas the ceiling for Shedeur Sanders is at a certain level, and it's not as high as Cam Ward.
Armando, I know you're busy there in Indianapolis. I'm going to get you out of here. But before I do, the NFLPA report is out, ranking the teams on a variety of factors, everything from ownership to the weight room to how family members are treated and many other categories. The Dolphins coming in number one here. You can see A pluses across the board except for an A for treatment of family, followed by the Vikings, Falcons, Raiders, and Chargers there in the top five. Kansas City, 26th. You go down the list, Philadelphia's 22nd. How much does any of this stuff actually matter, Armando?
So to the players, it matters because they obviously want to be somewhere where they feel like they're being well treated, that they have everything at their disposal to be able to win. The problem is the fans look at, the Dolphins winning it for the second year in a row. The Dolphins haven't won a playoff game since 2000. So, and they have the longest playoff drought in the NFL. 2 years ago, the Kansas City Chiefs won their second consecutive Super Bowl, and they ranked 30th in this report card. So does the report card show an equilibrium between being comfortable and being well treated and winning football games? Absolutely not. I call it the entitlement report, because when you've got millionaires complaining at some points that they're not getting good childcare, bro, you're making over $1 million a year. Pay for it. If that's what you need, get it. You're making enough to do it. There are people making $35,000 a year that are trying to get childcare. I don't want to hear your complaints about childcare. I don't want to hear. There's one team, the Philadelphia Eagles, actually, that the players complain that sometimes they have to wait for the business staff to get done with their lunch so that they can sit down. How dare that damn Eagles business staff need lunch at the same time that the Eagles want to have lunch? How dare they? That's just wrong.
Unbelievable. We can't have regular people in the way. Don't they know who they are? Those are NFL players, damn it, Armando.
Hey, OutKick fans on YouTube, if you enjoyed this episode, hit the subscribe button and make your way over to OutKick.com where you can watch the full episode.